Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now I want to talk to you about this here, and a lot of times we really don't think about this, and this honestly has been a secret to just my life. And when I look around and I compare, because God has no favorites, in the sense of He shows no favoritism unless you are living the way He instructs you to live. Now, when you live the way God instructs us to live, that's when you become a favorite, and that's when you receive favoritism, according to the Bible. And the Bible tells you about when you live righteous and you diligent in that righteousness, the blessings start to flow. And I can attest to that. I would not be living that way if what the Bible says was not true. But everything the Bible says is true. Even when calamity comes upon us, the Bible is still true. Because when you are living with the Lord, there will be peace in the midst of the storm. So it has been very real. And so I'm calling this a pure heart, which also means a righteous heart, a righteous lifestyle, and trusting God and doing the right thing. We have a event coming up this week, Kansas City, Missouri, and we still, raising funds for it. And I'm trusting God every step of the way, because, for me, I have to be the last. I gotta be the last one to say, hey, I've given this much, spent this many thousands, raised this many, and this what it costs. And have to be mindful and diligent and focused, over the budget. But then at the same time, things come up to where I look and I see like, oh, okay, that's 3,000, 4,000 that come up, that you have to be a blessing before you even get there. And in the past, what I used to do is I would be in a place to where I would worry weeks ahead, or I would worry days ahead, and I would do something in my own power, and a little later I would see God's power. And every time I would see God's power, I would be reminded that God is more powerful than me, and that and God would show me, you ain't even have to do that, what you did. You didn't even have to do that, what you did. Look at here, look what happened. And I just would see that over and over. And God would show me over and over. And one thing I noticed is that just being of pure heart and wanting the best for everybody, wanting everybody to be blessed, wanting everybody to have, and not wanting anybody to get the short end of the stick. My wife threw a party yesterday for our oldest son, his signing party, and I could have took and said, hey, my son has to do without so that these other children can have. But I said, no, I got to take care of mine first, because that's my responsibility. Or I could say, hey, my wife got to do without so I could take care of other people's household. But I said, no, that's my first ministry, my wife. She still got to be taken care of, presented, blemish, and spot free. And have to say those things, and when I look around and I see different people with different needs, just wanting everybody to have, and just keeping a clean, pure heart. God has shown me a lot. You know, God has shown me that He has shown me that He is faithful if you trust Him and you live right. And it's just that little bit of nastiness in your heart that you got to clean out. Just that little bit of nastiness. And that nastiness could be toward anybody. That nastiness could be unforgiveness. That nastiness could be anything now. It's just that little bit of nastiness that you got to clean out. And you got to understand that right there. Just that little bit. That's what blocking them blessings. Because God can't bless willing mess. You're living in mess, God can't bless it. It got to be pure and clean. Like, you got to really get right for the Lord to bless it. And I start to see that, and I start to realize that of just across the board wanting to do the right thing. It don't mean being ran over, but in life, love, and in business, wanting to do the right thing. I'm praying today I find rest, which I'll just probably put my phone down. I mean, I don't mind texting, but just not doing no work, not getting on nobody's phone call, and just being locked in, talking to my wife, watching the game with my wife. She loves sports, and just find rest and back to the grind tomorrow. Back to the grind tomorrow. See, one of my homeboys just texted me, say, you ain't went live in a month. I had to step back so I could build. Building an insurance agency. Get my agents on board. Getting folks their policy. Get my agents and give my agents their policy first. So we set up. So we got what we need. Then we going from there. So you got to look at this thing and understand it. Just ask yourself like this right here. Who am I competing with? Make sure the answer, get to the point where the answer is nobody. But if the answer is your coworker, if the answer is your sibling, the answer is your spouse, your parent, be honest with yourself. And that's why you're losing. That's why you're losing in life right now. Ask yourself, who am I jealous of? And really search your heart. Ask yourself, who am I mad at? And really search your heart. Ask yourself, who haven't I forgiven? And really search your heart. Ask yourself, what willing and complacent sin is in my life? And really search your heart. What willing and complacent sin is in my life? And really search your heart. And that's why you're losing. And this is the thing. It's not that when we live in righteous, we don't have hard times, we don't have trials and tribulations or troubles or whatever. No, all that comes. But with all of that right there, that comes, you also have peace. You have peace. You have blessings. You know, you have it in the midst of the storm. And that's what got to be understood. It ain't that you gonna be removed from all problems. That ain't the case. But it's that God gonna give you rest. He gonna give you peace in the midst of it. So listen to me. Get this in your spirit and start to do that work, that inner work, where you going deep within and you confronting you, and you being honest with you and getting that together. And then you walking upright, you walking purely, and you want the best for everybody. You want the best for everybody. You want people to experience. You want them to live. You want them to be blessed. And watch what the Lord do. But hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Keep your head up. Keep going. And we'll be in touch.